I just want the world to love more. You know, I want us to realize that we're all human beings and that we're all here for the same purpose, which is to live and thrive and instead of just surviving.
Raven Reid is a folk musician. She was born in Yellowknife but raised in Saskatchewan. She was just 4 years old when she was taken from her family and placed in a children's group home in Fort Smith, Northwest Territories, as part of the Adopt an Indian and Métis program known as AIM, which would later be linked to the Sixties Scoop. She was adopted later by a family in Prince Albert in the early 80s. According to a study done by postdoctoral fellow Alison Stevenson at the University of Saskatchewan, the AIM program was piloted in Saskatchewan in 1967, with the policies continuing into the 1980s. She says the stated goal was to increase adoptions of Indigenous children. The study goes on to say children were advertised for adoption on television, radio, and in newspapers to promote transracial adoption. Reid says being tied to that program comes with mixed emotions.
So knowing that I was part of this program angered me, made me sad, but it also empowered me to speak up and tell the truth, because you can't have reconciliation, truth and reconciliation without the truth first.
She says she turned to poetry, painting, reading, writing, and eventually music as a way to heal from the trauma she experienced growing up. In her early 20s, while visiting her adoptive parents, she answered the phone and discovered her birth family had never stopped searching for her.
I finally picked up because I happened to be over at my adoptive parents' house at that time, and she told me who she was. I didn't even know I was Cree my entire life. I thought I was Dene. That's what my parents told me.
But the reunion wasn't without pain. Reid says the impacts of being taken were felt by everyone.
It's been difficult to reconnect, but it's also almost impossible to build a relationship, because when we were taken, my mother and her siblings turned to alcohol, and so addictions played a huge part in that.
In recent years, Reid lost her adoptive father, her biological mother, and her adoptive sister, all within months of each other. She says her story is filled with hardships, but also with strength and resilience.
There's so many things that we still face today here in Canada on treaty lands that we need to stand up and say something and point it out and be brave enough to come together as a community, as a country, to face those truths, to listen to them, and to stand up and do something about. There's 94 calls.
Reid wants all survivors of the 60s Scoop residential schools and those living with the intergenerational impacts of these systems to know they are heard.
I want you to know that you're not alone, that we're all out here feeling what we feel and trying to make a difference. I think that if we try to get onto the same page, which is love each other, you know, how you love yourself, we can make a difference. We can change the future for our children and our grandchildren.
Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.